Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for February 8th, 2023. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. Today we'll be discussing racism and Islamophobia as conflicts of interest for public defenders, insider trading in the cryptosphere, equitable education in Pennsylvania, and a follow-up to the FTC Meta story. So let's jump in. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court, the state's highest court, is set to decide whether a court-appointed lawyer's racist and Islamophobic social media posts make him unsuitable to represent a Black and Muslim client. Anthony Du was accused of running a prostitution ring and was sentenced to 10 years in prison after pleading guilty in 2016. He only discovered that his public defender, Richard Doyle, had made bigoted Facebook posts while representing him in 2021. Du is now seeking a new trial, with the appeal backed by civil rights groups and bar associations who argue that the defendant does not need to demonstrate specific harm if a conflict of interest has been established. The case is being closely watched as it is one of the first of its kind and could have far-reaching implications for the criminal justice system. Ishan Wahi, a former Coinbase manager, has pled guilty to 2 counts of wire fraud conspiracy. He had faced up to 20 years in prison on each count if convicted at trial, but agreed to serve 36 to 47 months in prison. Ishan's brother, Nikhil, was sentenced to 10 months in prison last month for trading on tips from Ishan. The case is the first to charge insider trading in the cryptocurrency space. Ishan passed confidential information about new offerings to his brother and a friend between July of 2021 and May of 2022, leading to a $1.5 million profit. Ishan was arrested in May 2022 just before a one-way flight to India. The case turns on the question of whether cryptocurrencies are securities subject to federal regulation and thus subject to regulations against insider trading in a manner similar to traditional securities. Ishan's lawyer is still fighting a parallel case against him by the Security and Exchange Commission. A Pennsylvania judge has declared the state's system for funding public education unconstitutional. The decision was a sweeping victory for a group of school districts that have been pursuing a years-long legal battle against the state government. The decision found manifest deficiencies between low-wealth school districts and more affluent ones. The state legislature has been directed to work with Governor Josh Shapiro and the school districts that sued to create a more equitable school finance system. Lawsuits alleging unfair or inadequate school funding systems have been filed in nearly every state in the United States over the past 5 decades. Not all of them lead to widespread reforms. The backers of the Pennsylvania lawsuit expressed optimism that the case will change the future for millions of families. Governor Shapiro said his administration is reviewing the ruling and determining next steps. And finally, in a follow-up story from the ongoing virtual reality saga between Meta and the FTC has ruled out an appeal to a circuit court after a judge in California refused to block Meta's purchase of Within Unlimited, a virtual reality fitness app maker. The FTC has yet to decide if it will continue with its in-house challenge to stop the merger permanently. The decision is expected soon and will be based on allegations that the deal threatens potential competition. If the FTC does continue with its challenge, it will be the first time the agency has done so after losing a federal court preliminary injunction bid since the 1990s. U.S. District Judge Edward Davila last week refused to temporarily halt the merger, but kept the deal paused until midnight West Coast time, February 7th. Thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than minimum competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. If you have any questions or story suggestions, find us on Mastodon on the esq.social instance. We also have a link aggregator in the Fediverse at links.esq.social, where some of our stories will be sourced from, so feel free to sign up and submit there. We are especially interested in legal happenings from our listeners outside the United States. If you have an interesting case or story, consider recording a 30-second to 2-minute clip on your phone and sending it in. We'd love to run it. Contact information is in the show notes. Minimum Competence is part of the ESQcast network of podcasts and streams on esqstream.com. Catch you back here tomorrow, and until then, fully inhabit and honor your minimum competence.